Alright guys, welcome back here to WCA America Finals. I am Solid Jake, joined by Zoya, and I am so excited to be here, man.
It's just the Clash of the Titans, man. This is what we would dream about for an event of this caliber. The two best teams in North America are ready to square off.
And actually, you know what, Zoya? Without further ado, the teams have actually started the draft. We can hop right on over to that because they are ready to roll for the first game of this tournament, and it's going to be on Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Very small map, very aggressive in base. We'll have to see how these guys want to play it out. Maelstrom immediately opening up with a Brightwing ban. The global presence always a threat, but Promote, with its recent change, very powerful on these small maps.
Yeah, I mean, she is actually, it's not even just Promote. Sure, that's a big part of it, but at the same time, her kit in general, she has the polymorph, she has a global presence with phase shift, and she's one of the only two heroes in the game that have the spell Cleanse.
Cleanse is a game changer. There's so many powerful stuns in this game compared to other modes, and lots of heroes have them. They'll stun them for several seconds, and you can chain that into just one big wombo combo of stun. So Cleanse has more than the ability to save someone. It can completely turn a fight.
Tempo Storm now has a big decision to make. They understand that this is a targeted ban towards that Promote style that does exist. She is kind of the centerpiece. But they also have to think about those big damage dealers like Kael'thas. If he is not picked here, it is quite likely that Maelstrom will use the first pick to pick up someone like Kael'thas.
Yeah, Kael'thas is super powerful right now, even with the recent change to Chain Bomb. And there we do see it, you're right, Jake, the Kael'thas ban. He has that range, he has that ability to just poke now. We swap to, the NA has swapped to the EU style of play, where you do get that range on your Q, and it's very effective poking. We see the first, with a Cleanse ban, that should be expected. The only other Cleanse in the game picked up by Maelstrom.
Yeah, this is actually a very aggressive support pick, but with the Brightwing ban, it makes perfect sense, because they are easily the two most sought-after heroes in the game. But this actually presents some interesting opportunities for heroes like Illidan. Now, yes, Uther is quite okay against Illidan. He does have stuns to lock him down, and he synergizes well with him, but Tempo has to be worried about them picking up Illidan on their side. They might really want to opt for him early in this draft.
Yeah, Illidan has started to fall down just a bit because it's the rise of the range assassin, but when you have a player like iDream, who has always been so terrifying on Illidan, even with the meta shifting just slightly, you can still predict Maelstrom to be able to run Illidan at a scary level, so that is 100% correct.
Alright, but Tempo Storm is actually going to opt to pick up Sylvanas as their first pickup, and Jared, I really suspect to see Lost Vikings here. When you see Sylvanas on a map like this, the global presence and just the push potential of those heroes combined is quite scary.
Sylvanas is very powerful, but we do see the God Murden picked up. Murden right now is considered the best warrior.
The God
Murden, man, he is so strong right now. With the other warriors, Diablo and ETC, getting the nerf bat hit to them, Murden got buffed, and he was already pretty good before, so now he is the warrior people look after, and a really strong pickup there from Tempo Storm. Sylvanas, like you said, for the push, and then Murden, he's the guy right now.
So I have to think about Murden synergies. Like you mentioned, he's got the mobility with Dwarf Toss, and he's got the Stormbolt for the stun, but there's some big synergies that exist with that. Kerrigan is the first one that comes to mind. Do you think Maelstrom could opt for Kerrigan-style play, considering they already have Uther here on the board, Divine Shield quite good with her? Is it worth that early pickup, or do they just go for the standard stuff? Maybe they go with a tank for themselves, and maybe they pick up Jaina?
It depends on what their game plan. This is a super aggressive match, like you said. Tomb of the Spider Queen, one of the smaller maps. That's where you want to go for those early kills. Kerrigan and Uther together, very powerful. You have the Divine Shield combo to keep her alive. We do see the Jaina, a super aggressive pick, works well with the Uther. I think you're right, Jake. We might see a Kerrigan here from Maelstrom. It's just super strong on this map. But they've also been one of the, different aggression teams. We do see the Tassadar. That is interesting to me.
That is very interesting. Very neutral pickup. They're not showing their hand. Tassadar is just a very well-rounded character that has damage, he has healing, and he has vision. And especially on a map like this, where we mentioned it's very small, close quarters, with big rotations for those ganks, having the Oracle, the passive on Tassadar to grant the vision around you, is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's one of his best maps, and he, like you said, he's a very versatile pick. So they can react to whatever Tempo Storm picks up for their next two heroes very well. They still have their warrior open, they still have another damage open, so they can adjust however they want. They can go into double support, they can go into double warrior still. They have so many options on the board for them right now. That was a really smart draft decision from Maelstrom.
But Tempo Storm now has the potential to grab Kerrigan, like we mentioned, with the big synergy on Muradin. And there's so many heroes that pair well with this. When it comes to the supports that are left in the game, sure, Brightwing Uther have been taken out of the game, but Tyrande synergizes quite well with that, and then Rhaegar with the Ancestral Heal a lot of priority for that, but oh my goodness, they pick up a new Barak?
Double Warrior, really strong like we've been talking about. It's starting to make its rise in the meta. And with Anub and Murden being the two best warriors right now, it's really strong combo. We have Rhaegar still up on the table. You know, whenever you like, oh, we're about to kill that really buff Murden, and then he gets healed to full by that ancestral, it's really tough for a team to come back. And if you look at Maelstrom, they don't have the best sustained fight right now. They got a lot of initial burst, but if they can outlast that initial fight, they can do well. And there's the Rhaegar.
All right, I was actually really expecting them to save that support pick till the end, but they don't want to risk it. We have seen Uther, Rhaegar be a pair in the past with great success, and they respect the threat that is there, and they don't allow that. Maelstrom, on the other hand, it is now their pick. ETC, the likely warrior for their composition.
Yeah, they would have to do something really weird to not pick ETC. Like, they would have to go Arthas Kerrigan here, or something bizarre like that. Diablo has fallen off very hard. Some think there is a chance he could come back as a bruiser, a Sonya's type style, but right now the meta isn't really about that. It's about these either super burst styles or these, these drawn-out little sustained fights. So, doubt we'll see Diablo. Doubt we'll see Chen. That's more of a European-type playstyle here. And even there, he's fallen off considerably.
Yeah, and especially on this map. The barrel is not nearly as valuable on Tomb of the Spider Queen, but they do need the warrior. They will pick their final two heroes in this point in time, but we've actually seen quite a bit of Tyrael play out of Maelstrom in the past. So I wouldn't be all too surprised to see Tyrael, especially when you consider they also have Tassadar. Having the Oracle is one of the better options to shut him down, and a big judgment onto someone like Sylvanas could put her in a terrible position.
Yeah, it's a really powerful pick. It's good for that snipe damage. No cleanse, so if it's used on the Rhaegar or the Rhaegar happens to just get stunned or locked out, really easy to blow someone up. The warriors from Tempo Storm, the Murder and Nibrak have to be doing a good job of peeling if that does become the case. But definitely a viable pick. Tyrael does have his place in this current meta. You do see him when there's these bans. There's the Kerrigan. We'll have to see what their last pick. Just going for that super aggression. Right now, that's all Maelstrom is looking for, is to take control of that early game. When you get a Kerrigan combo on someone, if the Jaina's there to follow up, they will die no matter what. So really, really strong aggression coming out from Maelstrom.
There are so many A-class heroes left in the roster at this point in time. They could do a warrior-less composition if they decide they want to. Lost Vikings are on the table, Illidan is on the table, and with Divine Shield and just Tassadar in general, they have a lot of survivability on that team. Tassadar, very hard to eliminate, also provides shields for his allies. He can pick up the Healing Ward, not so much as common right now, but it's going to be very interesting to see how they round out their roster.
You're right, they could go Warriors. There's so many good picks they could go with the Warriors. You could see a Tyrande where you have a triple support kind of blow-up style and then retreat. And there is the Asmodan. Okay, so the Asmodan, really good on this map because you can farm both lanes, top and mid, or mid and bottom, really consistently to build up those stacks. Then you have the push. You've got the promote from Asmodan and the promote from Tassadar. Jake, Maelstrom busting out some weird stuff here, man.
Yeah, that is very weird. Now, Asmodan actually has the highest health pool in the game, even though he is considered a specialist, but he is a big, buffy damage dealer that, when I say buffy, I mean it literally. He actually will just buff those minions with both his General of Hell and, of course, that promote, the bound minion at level 4 that you can pick up, giving him incredible push potential, and like you mentioned, Tassadar also has that. So their presence in just the lanes in general for marching down those lanes, quite good, but this is a smaller map. It's Tomb of the Spider Queen. There's not as much emphasis on split pushing because you can rotate around those lanes pretty quickly, especially between the bottom and mid, but if they do happen to get the advantage, they do happen to just kind of take control of the battlefield, that can just turn into damage control for Tempo Storm constantly.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough match. It's hard to judge based off the Maelstrom. You have that early powerhouse aggression. Uther, Kerrigan, Jaina, they can take control of the middle game, or the early game. That's where Asmodan's is weakest. He's got to build those stacks. He's got to be able to still be in the game when he's built up. So with that aggression and how the mechanic works on this map, Asmodan, this comp might work. We see a more standardized comp from Tempo Storm, so as long as they can adjust to what they see, adapt mid-game to how it's playing out, they've got the stronger comp on paper. But you can never count out Maelstrom when it comes to the weird stuff that only they do.
I can't argue with Izoya, but they're going to round out their composition with Vala, Reign of Vengeance, big for that zone clear, especially in these narrow hallways that exist on Tomb of the Spider Queen. She is probably the longest standing assassin in the competitive hero scene. She has just been around since the absolute beginning. Can't wait to see these two teams unfold in the first game of today.
It's going to be an exciting match. We don't see this kind of play too often. When you see Warriors, it's usually with Illidan on the bigger maps. But this time it's Kerrigan with Asmodee on Tomb of the Spider Queen. That is the smallest map we have. It's just so easy to roam between the lanes. And it's not one of those maps you think of to go pushing on. You know, when you think of, we're going to do a push build, you think of Cursed Hollow.
Absolutely. I mean, that's where we tend to see Asmodee, just because the absolute size of the map. The big thing with Asmodee is he has not only the longest ranged Q in the game, he's just got that, it's probably the longest ranged spell in the game for a normal basic ability. Super powerful on maps like that, but additionally the global presence from the General of Hell. He can summon that bound minion anywhere on the map. And on Tomb of the Spider Queen, it's not as much of a big deal, but obviously this is something they have practiced. It's tried and true, and Maelstrom are busting out the new cards. And the cool thing about Asmodee, I have to say, is Asmodee was brought into the competitive heroes meta by TempoStorm. And here they are bringing some of TempoStorm's flavor to them.
Yeah, Maelstrom used to run back when Asmodee was in the meta. They used to run Asmodee, but they only did it on 2 maps, Garden of Terror and Curse Hall. This is a polar opposite of that.
All right, guys, well, game number 1 is ready to roll. We're going to hop into Tomb of the Spider Queen. Get excited.
And here we are loaded into the game. On the left-hand side of the map, in the blue trunks, we have TempoStorm, Soldier on Anubarak, Arthalon on Sylvanas, KO on Vala. We have Rhaegar played by Dreadnought, and Zuna on that Muradin.
And on the red side of the map, that is in fact Cloud9 Maelstrom, with Biceps playing as Uther, Dunk Train on Asmodee, King Caffeine will be playing as Tassadar, iDream rocking that Kerrigan bat, and then K1 Pro will be playing as Jaina.
Now, this is going to be a really fun early game to watch for the reason that it's just such a different comp, Jake. We don't have, it's like a in-between of super aggression and super late game, and I can't wait to see how it plays out on this map. We have to keep an eye on that Asmodee and see how his stacks are building and how he's getting ganked. You do, now this is not as aggressive as a Kerrigan composition, but with a Nubarak Muradin, you can secure kills.
You definitely can, and we're going to see a lot of rotation happening around the map, but right now it's some pretty passive play. We will see those coffers spawn very soon. Yeah, they are up now, and you can collect those gems across the map to turn them in to earn the favor of the Spider Queens, which will march down all 3 maps when you turn in 50 gems.
And that's what this lane phase is about, farming those gems. When you get kills, you can potentially deny pickup from your opponent, and we do see that that's what these teams are going to be trying to do here. Soldier looking for that roam swad, K1 Pro roaming up as well, trying to get these early kills onto Arthalon. There comes the pull, but he does Eon out of it. Good juke there from Arthalon. He is going to be alive.
Yeah, a nice play. I mean, using a lot of people think you have to use the E like it's max distance, but he actually timed it specifically so that he would only dodge that Primal Grasp, and it just gives you those invulnerability frames, or just you get just out of the range to make sure you dodge it. Very nicely done, but the rotation into the bottom lane from Cloud9 onto Dunk Train, or from TempoStorm, they're going to be able to pick up this kill onto Dunk Train if he is not careful, and he will be able to escape by the skin of his teeth.
That is the thing about Asmodee. He is very tanky, but we do see a re-engaged iDream does not get the combo landed perfectly. There's some damage going down to Uther. He's getting poked down pretty low, but Zuna has to back out here. Is a 44 in this bottom lane. No kills secured from either side.
All right, so let's take a look at the talents very quickly. We can see that Reverberation has been picked up. That's going to be help to really nullify some of the damage from the Archon on Tassadar. Asmodee is going for the Taste for Blood that will make him stronger throughout the game, and then just the standard mana regen on the 2 supports of Cloud9.
Yeah, just make sure they have that sustain for those late game fights, because with this composition, they're not going to be able to kill someone late game very easily. They're going to have to be able to whittle them down with that Asmodee poke. Now we do see that the teams are spreading out and pushing their lanes. You know, you want to get the minions as close to the wall as you can, because now with the minions pushing up, they have the ability to roam to that middle lane and apply some pressure.
And it's just going to continue to get more and more powerful, especially once they hit level 4 and get those promote talents. But Zuna just taking a bit of damage. He has some of the highest health regen in the game on Muradin, so he's happy to just bait out some of their mana, some of those skill shots, and just rotate back on his horse.
Experience is dead even right now between these teams. No kills have been secured, and both are doing a perfect job of soaking that experience. Look how far back KO is. He knows if he oversteps just for a second, iDream is going to land that combo on him, and it can be a very easy kill with that Jaina there.
Yeah, constantly looking. Kerrigan is continuously roaming around the map, looking for an opportunity. iDream wants to make the first blood of this game happen, but both teams are playing very passively at this point in time.
There we go. We do see the promotes, though, going down in that top lane. They're going to be pushing this as hard as they can to just drain that ammo and eventually get an easier push when they do get that map objective.
Yeah, but Sylvanas is a great response to this. She can lock down those minions with her trait. When you see them locked down with that red, the black, that means they cannot attack. 1 for 1 in terms of the kills in this bottom lane, though. And Zuna is getting very low to those 12 gems. He does not want to lose them, but the Blizzard Wave and the Psystorm will be enough to pick up the kill. And Soldier has to burrow charge out of this situation.
did get most of those gems where some were lost. A 2-for-1 trade in favor of Maelstrom, catching that Rhaegar off guard. Zuna used his leap offensively to get into that fight and help clean up, save his opponents, but was not able to get out. Wasn't expecting the rotation that quick.
King Caffeine just making sure he soaks his top lane. Soaking is, of course, just being in the vicinity of minions when they fall. That allows you to gain experience. And oh my goodness, the rotation from Zuna is here, but the rest of Cloud9 is available. He needs to be very careful. Dwarf Toss was used aggressively, so he doesn't have that as a defensive mechanism, and he's getting very low. The Primal Grasp from Kerrigan will be enough to pick up another kill, 3-1 in favor of Cloud9 Maelstrom.
Really inappropriate use of that Dwarf Toss there. It was only 2 members there. It was a 2v3. Aggressively used it, like you said, and he had no escape. So once the rest of Maelstrom rotated in, they were able to secure that kill on Zuna, and they walked away for free.
And that's rough to do, but Dread is sitting down here soaking the bottom lane. Even though they do have these promotes, we can see that is actually just the double promote. We have the bound minion from Azmodan and the promote on Tassadar, giving them that additional damage, but Sylvanas ended up falling in the top lane, and Zuna needs to be careful right now.
He does leap out of there, but there goes the Dwarf Toss, and he is taking a lot of damage. Another stun coming up from Uther. Will it be enough? And yes, they do secure that kill. Again, Zuna being caught out of position. A third death for him this game, and he has to start being a little bit more aware of his positioning. You have to respect the Kerrigan no matter what the composition it is.
And we're starting to see this go slightly in the favor of Cloud9. They already have a full level advantage with those early kills, 5-1 in favor of their team, and they constantly have this push. They can just leave this lane, the wall, the well, it has all fallen, and the experience speaks for itself.
Yeah, and we do see that those spiders are on their way. They have been finished, 50 of those gems turned in, but this is what Tempo Storm's responding with. They're taking their knights as quick as they can to help counter push that mid lane, allows them to focus on cleaning up top and bottom.
Those Web Weavers have made it halfway down the map. They will go as far as they can until they reach opposing minions, and guess what? This one makes it right to the front door of Tempo Storm. They will start their siege, but this early in the game, their health pool is quite small.
Yeah, but as you see, it's already dropping very quickly before the Knights even got there. And with them cleaning this up pretty quickly, the Knights will be able to do considerable damage to that wall, but here comes a leap from Idrim. He does go for the combo, does not land anything on Dread or KO, and the Spider in the mid does get cleaned up.
Tassadar is rotating down. The entire team of Cloud9 will have that presence in the middle lane, which means they're sacrificing a small amount of experience to do this. This is a small window for Tempo Storm to potentially catch up in terms of just the soak, but the damage done to these towers will grant them that 800 experience from the 2 towers, pushing them even closer to level 10, which is where they will get those heroics.
Yeah, and this is where that composition gets more scary. When you get that black pull on Azmodan, he's able to start contributing in those team fights, and you get the Divine Shield from Uther. I'm actually curious to see if they do go Divine Storm, just to help secure those kills later on, but more than likely it'll be shield for the Jane.
Yeah, back in the day we would see a lot of Divine Storm, especially paired with someone like Kerrigan, but Divine Shield also very beneficial ever since they improved its ability, but Arthlon is getting quite low. K1 Pro throwing out that Frostbolt to do the damage, but not quite enough to pick up a kill.
Level 10 has been taken by Maelstrom. They are taking their heroics. We do see that is Divine Shield, Archon, Maelstrom, Blackpool, and Water Elemental. Standard pickups here from C9 Maelstrom.
Tempo Storm, though, they still have a full level before they hit level 10 and get the heroics of their own, which means they have to play very passively. Right now, the name of the game is just soaking up as much experience without dying and losing the life of the hero, because not having your ultimates, those heroic abilities, that's very difficult.
Yeah, this is just a very scary period for Tempo Storm. They are soaking as safely as they can. Normally they would be out aggressive, trying to turn in gems. As you can see, they have a lot built up on them, Jake. They would normally want to turn that in, but they're just trying their hardest not to overextend. All they want to do is get level 10. That is all that's on their mind right now.
Each wave they clear gets them so very close, but right now Maelstrom, they know they can continue to put this pressure on the front line, dish out that damage, and turn in many gems. 23 in right now. Jaina will be turning in 10 more, putting them at 33 gems. Tempo Storm has not turned in a single gem this game, Jared.
You know, you have to respect the Kerrigan on this map, and when you go for those turn-ins, it's very greedy. But here they are sitting in the bush right now. They are getting ready to re-engage, but that Azmodan Warrior doing a lot to disengage. As Zuna poking forward here does stun Caffeine. Looks like they'll be able to disengage, but they do have that level 10, Jake.
We can look very quickly to see Avatar Ancestral Healing, the Locust Swarm Strafe, and then, of course, Wailing Arrow, the standard picks for all 5 of these heroes in terms of heroic abilities, and this is going to allow them to fight. They really need to get some map presence, turn in some of those gems. 41 have been put on the board, and if they can get those next 9 in to summon the Web Weavers, that's exactly what they need to get back in this game.
And if they can keep their current gem count for the next turn-in, they will be immediately caught up with Maelstrom's turn-in. But right now they're being pushed in bottom very, very hard here. The fort is exposed. It looks like they are going for a turn-in at the top of Tassadar, doing a good job of delaying that. The poke is real. Zuna do a good job of zoning there, and Tempo Storm does complete a turn. turn in.
That's a big deal. And, I mean, Zuna just really pushed Tassadar back, just buying time for Rhaegar, who had 21 gems at the time, to turn in. And getting these Web Weavers, they really need to make something happen because structurally they're a little bit behind.
Yeah, they're a level down as well, which when Maelstrom does get that 13 tier, Templestorm won't be able to engage, so they are looking for a fight right now. They want to commit to something or just, push and get caught up. That's all they want to do right now. We do see 4 of the members of Templestorm here in the bottom lane, and Muradin is in the mid lane, so they are very close to each other in case a fight does break out. iDream defending as well as he can.
Yeah, Arthalon on Sylvanas can push very well by himself, just buying time for the Web Weavers, but that's also a weakness. Cloud9 could be looking for the gank on that, especially with Jaina and Kerrigan in this bottom lane. He has to be very careful, and Tempo decides to rotate back down to make sure that doesn't happen.
Towers are being stable. There comes the lead from iDream, but nice E there from Soldier to burrow out of there and not get comboed down. His team was there to follow up, so very well played there. Now here comes the Black Pull, though. You see how it one-shots all the minions in the back. This is when Dunk Train is going to be building those 6 stats.
And yes, it'll make him stronger. Every time he gets a killing blow with the Globe of Annihilation on a minion, he will get increased damage on that ability, and we do in fact have a pause in the game.
Yeah, we'll figure out what that is, but let's talk about the current state of the game, Jake. Both teams are looking very even right now. We do see that Templestorm still has spiders up in top lane. They're able to help push with that.
Yep.
They're down a level right now, but if they can take some structures, they'll be caught up. They just can't get picked because they have so many gems on them. Looking at it right now, KO with 20, Dreadnought with 14, Zuna with 19. If they lose those gems, it's going to be really hard to come back.
That's devastating because that's the momentum of these kind of maps. It's very much like the coins on Blackheart's Bay, except you can't steal them from your opponents. But still, if you can stop the snowball of collecting the gems on your opponents, you can take a pretty big advantage. But like you mentioned, if they do manage to retain those, turn those in, the game is going to push in their favor very quickly. And right now, they've really evened it out quite well, especially taking out that bottom wall structurally. The bottom lane is quite even. They're going to continue to do that with the rest of the Web Weavers on the map. We just got to get this sorted out with Zuna's computer.
Yeah, we'll figure out what's going on in a second, guys. This game is, I don't really know what to expect for the rest of it. We saw the Kerrigan early game dominance. That's just Kerrigan. Doesn't matter what comp she's in, as long as there's some damage to follow up, even just like an Uther to follow up stun, Kerrigan secures kills. That is the power of Kerrigan. Now's where it gets weird. You can do warriorless comps with Kerrigan as long as there's an Illidan there with it. We've never seen a warriorless comp with Kerrigan as Modan, Jake. I have no clue how the late game team fights are going to play. Because right now we haven't seen team fights. It's just been like little picks.
It's going to be really interesting, but at the same time we have Muradin, who is incredibly hard to eliminate. Once he has Avatar and then you're throwing a new Barak in there with the Locust Swarm, these are going to be 2 warriors that are not only stunning out the Kerrigan constantly and locking her down, but they're going to be so hard to pick off where it's the complete opposite for Kerrigan. The only saving grace that Maelstrom has is the fact that they have Divine Shield. And that can keep Kerrigan alive for an extended period of time, making her quite a formidable foe.
Looks like we're going back into the game. Countdown has complete, and we have resumed, guys. Templestorm is pushing out this mid lane. They are here as 5. So is Maelstrom. iDream is looking for that pick, though. He's going to be wanting to combo anyone on the team here and try and burst them down. The focus fire has to be perfect from Maelstrom, though. If an Ancestral goes off and they've blown everything to try and get it, Templestorm can snowball the fight in their favor.
It's very true. K1 Pro just kind of lurking in the shadows, looking to potentially turn in. Only 6 gems are needed on the side of Maelstrom, and it looks like they're looking to make that happen. He has 8 right now. He's completely alone in the bottom, and if he manages to turn these in, it's going to look great for them. But in the top lane, Maelstrom is trying to defend this top lane, and it looks like Templestorm is going to opt to back off.
It's so hard to push without anything meaty there from Templestorm's perspective. You can't push into a Kerrigan safely. It's the easiest combo for them to land, so they do end up back off. Maelstrom does end up getting that. The Soldier is kind of a little bit out of position, does get slow, but he does end up burrowing out.
Yeah, nicely done. Jaina did, in fact, help secure those seed turn-ins or the gem turn-ins at the bottom lane. Web Weaver's second pack coming down from Maelstrom very quickly across the map. And Templestorm is trying to take these bruisers, but Maelstrom can see this on their minimap. They're getting very aggressive into the jungle side of Templestorm.
There comes the combo. Ancestral goes down on Arthalon, but 2 people, that KO and Rhaegar, both fall, and they are on top of that point there. Archon has been popped. Zuna is backing out, and Maelstrom going to cleanly sweep up this fight.
Oh, that was actually just devastating. The Ancestral was a little bit preemptive onto Sylvanas. She actually dodged a lot of damage with her Haunting Wave, but not quite exactly what they needed. This is big. Picking up 2 kills there right as the Web Weavers are marching down all three lanes, we can see the middle and bottom fort just fell, and the experience is really pushing towards the side of Maelstrom.
Yeah, that was just the perfect timing, perfect invade there from Maelstrom. They executed that beautifully. There goes a combo going down. Arthlon does step out of it, but the push is happening. Keep Wall is going down here. Rhaegar and Vala are both returning to the fight, though. Will Tempostorm be able to re-engage?
Yeah, they need to defend this keep. Losing a keep and your fort means that you have catapults pushing against you for the duration of the game, and you don't want that to happen. The top fort has also fallen. 2-level advantage at this point in time for Cloud9 Maelstrom.
We do see that Tempostorm is doing their best to clean this up right now, and they're on the same talent tier, but this is a 2-level lead, Jake. All Maelstrom needs to do is get a little bit more structures and a few more kills, and they will have 16 tier, arguably one of the most important talent tiers in the game.
And that's, yeah, I mean, 16 is a big point, but Tempostorm did hit 13, so they do have those level 13 talents. We can take a look at those. With the Thunder Strike, that's going to do additional damage to if it's a single target, and we see Dreadnought is really speccing into the heal. Having Healing Surge, having the Feral Heart and the Spirit Walker's Grace, that's so much survivability, so much sustainability. It's going to be a big point in time for them to really come back in this game and make something happen before level 16 on Maelstrom.
It's really smart read from Dreadnought, knowing that these comps, like, this is not going to be a quick fight. You know, as long as they win the fight, the initial burst from the Kerrigan, Tempostorm can come back. So getting that extra healing is really smart. Zuna taking a lot of light poke there. Here comes the engage onto Soldier. He does end up burrowing out there. They were not able to complete any turning just yet. Trying to re-engage.
Yeah, it's just so much aggression. You see Soldier constantly just forced to use that burrow charge, and they're buying time with the range that they have on both the Side Storm, the Globe of Annihilation, and even just the kit of Jaina. They're just preventing Tempo from ever being able to turn in, and Tempo does not feel comfortable fighting an even engagement where they know the positioning and they are very close to hitting level 16. Very
close, and we'll have to keep an eye on those talents. We do have very important tier there for Maelstrom, and that right now this is what Tempostorm's thinking. They can't fight. It's just too tough.
Double Blood for Blood, Numbing Blast, of course. Benediction picked up for Uther, and Dimensional Warp that's going to make Tassadar incredibly hard to eliminate at this point in time. And iDream is very far in the jungle on the enemy team. Now, he doesn't have anyone near him, but Arthalon is getting blown up so very quickly, just having that full kit available, a very early gank.
Yeah, using that E a little bit too early. Like you said, it does have the extended range, and he did end up still getting comboed. A lot of good damage can come out from Kerrigan with that Envenom, and he did secure the kill. Really well played there from iDream.
I mean, this is just constantly keeping Tempo on their back foot. If you don't have your full team, you cannot fight. 8 kills to 1 on the board. The forts are very much in favor. 3 have fallen on the side of Tempo, while every single fort remains for Maelstrom, and they're getting mercenary camps right now, Zoya.
Yep, camps in the night being taken right now. Night camp will help push out that mid lane, and we saw earlier, Maelstrom cleared out the middle wall, so this threatens a keep, so Tempostorm's going to have to react to that, and they're already just playing the safe farm mode that they want to get turn-ins, and they just don't want to fight. With double Blood for Blood, they're at a huge disadvantage until they hit 16.
Yeah, I mean, Dunk Train is getting that farm on too, constantly just throwing the Globe of Annihilation to power it up further when he destroys those minions, and he's one-shotting everything he hits at this point in time.
Yeah, lots of damage can come out from this Duncan when he has the black pool underneath him now. 16 tier is almost here from Tempostorm with something very important we have to point out. They have 4 Blood for Bloods lined up for them, Jake.
And that's a big deal. I mean, we saw the power of Blood for Blood. It's 15% of the total health pool of that hero. Not their current health pool, the maximum health pool available. So Warriors really struggle with this, but Asmodean specifically, we mentioned he has the largest health pool in the game. That's damage, healing for yourself, and slow on your opponent.
And 16 tier is right here. They're just about to hit it. iDream and K1 Pro, they're looking for that gank on the Soldier. He does burrow out of there immediately, and 16 has been acquired by Tempostorm.
And yeah, there's 1, 2, 3 Blood for Bloods. There is the 4th on Rhaegar with Stone Form for Muradin, which will make him far more tanky. This could be the point in time where Tempostorm can swing it back in their favor because they need to make it happen before 20.
They have to make something happen here. Right now they're just dancing. They have Spiders pushing mid, Spiders pushing top, and they're all down here bottom. They are going to lose a keep if they don't make a decision soon, Jake.
Yeah, the promote, the General of Hell with these Spiders makes these waves absolutely massive. Just clearing them seems to be a big commitment on the side of Tempo, but the moment Kerrigan goes in is when Tempo knows they have to fight.
Here comes the push up into this. The Spider is just about to fall. There comes another black pull, and all the minions getting cleared out. Mid wave and top wave have had minions pushing this whole time. Zuna looking like he wants to re-engage, though. We don't have KO with them just yet. Dunk Train getting that E onto Zuna. He's taking a lot of light damage here, already at a 3rd HP, and there goes a big stun. He's going to go down. Nice E out there from Soldier, and the disengage is happening. He's healed back to full. Archon has been popped, doing as much damage as he can, but both teams are just immediately disengaging.
Yeah, so, I mean, Ancestral was used, but so was the Archon on Tassadar, so pretty even, all things considered, at this point in time, but the push is not quite done from Maelstrom. The Spiders have been cleared up in the top lane, but Maelstrom has not left, and they're even going to start in these bruisers?
A lot of poke going down onto Dunk Train right now. Zuna is trying to work him down. Good stun from Soldier, and the rest of Tempestorm is here to follow up. The slows are going down. They're trying their hardest to get the kill, but they're hiding in that bush. Here comes iDream leaving out. There's the Maelstrom. He made vault, and there's a pull onto Soldier, but he's taking no damage right now. Biceps in the backline take a lot of damage. There's a big globe from Dunk Train doing a lot of damage, but death goes to Kerrigan. KO getting really low. He's trying to back out. Caffeine looking for the flame. K1 Pro getting collapsed on very hard, and the stuns go down. 4 members from Maelstrom are down. Maelstrom has to back out. Caffeine gets slowed by the ball. Dreadnought in full chase. Uther doing the best he can heal him up, and they are going for an immediate tune-in. They have to get pressure on this map right now.
This is the power of Sylvanas. They can lock this down, and oh my goodness, Wailing Arrow was a huge part of that fight. Hitting 3 targets of Maelstrom, it actually nullified the Maelstrom and Divine Shield of Uther and Kerrigan. With that much presence in the front line, no one could follow up with it, and Tempo took a very convincing fight. They take out the fort, and they're going straight for this back keep. Huge play, Zoya.
Big play here from they're going to have Catapults finish lane, only Caffeine here to delay. With the extra healing talents that Rhaegar got, they will be able to withstand the poke from Tassadar alone. The keep is just about to fall, and they have plenty of time to back out. 6 seconds on Uther, 6 seconds on Asmodee, and Tempestorm is back out. And suddenly, Jake, the game is even.
Dead even, actually, in favor of Tempestorm. When you consider the fact that they have Web Weavers marching down 3 lanes with 1 keep down, that means there will be Catapults in the middle lane for the duration of the game, and these marches are just occurring, going down all 3 lanes. This will not only push it back, push them safe, but they can heal back to full and then re-engage as, just at max capacity.
Now think if that fight went a little bit differently from Maelstrom. Think if they had Archon. We had a lot of low members there from Tempestorm. So Maelstrom has to be on the same page and know when they are committing to that fight. If they have all their heroics up this next time, it could be a completely different turnaround. Maelstrom still in a scary position in this game. They have more map presence as they do still have their top fort.
But Tempo sees that they are in the bottom lane, so they will oblige by attacking the top fort. This will fall incredibly quickly. Sylvanas actually just shuts down both of their structures, preventing any damage from being done, but that Globe of Annihilation cleans up the wave like it's nothing.
Yep, and it just immediately slows down this push. That is the power of Asmodee. But here they're poking away at King Caffeine, going for that chase there. There is a nice stun onto Dunk Train. They're in full retreat. And looks like Temple's going to commit to this.
That's actually a really big burrow charge and stun from Muradin. Zuna looking for the body blocks. If they manage to pick up this kill, Avatar is used and the strafe goes out as well. But that kill will just allow them to have so much more aggression. Both teams getting very close to level 20 at this point in time when they get those level 20 talents. But Tempo, they're considering going for a boss. No, they're going to make the safe play and turn in.
Now we look at the death timer on Asmodee. That's 45 seconds where Tempestorm has a 5 versus 4 advantage. They did use a lot of heroics to secure that kill, but now they have a turn-in. Oh, they're 2 gems off. They want to get a few more gems here. They're going to get that turn-in, Jake, and then they're going to do boss. Both teams are so close to 20 tier, though.
This is a really risky thing to do, though. Asmodeen's still down for 30 seconds, but Kerrigan and Jaina can make magic happen. A big Primal Grasp with Blizzard could end the game, but Maelstrom knows they're down a hero, and it looks like they're just opting to stay in the back, but they do have level 20 first, and we can take a look at those talents. Bolt of the Storm, Bolt of the Storm, Bolt of the Storm, Rewind, and Uther will likely go with Redemption, that Resurrection when he does fall. No Bulwark of Light.
Whoa. That is different, Jake. I don't know if we've seen that in a competitive match to date. That is a really interesting pickup, and it's smart. They have to live through that follow-up burst from Maelstrom. If Tempestorm doesn't recognize his talents, the players know the timing of Divine Shield. Like, it's down, go. With that 2 extra seconds, if Tempestorm doesn't calculate for that, and they go ham before it's down, that could change everything.
It really could, but with the boss in the front, he's taking out the wall. The Web Weavers are marching in all 3 lanes and is just about to reach this top lane, but Tempo has arrived with them, throwing down the stuns just from Anubarak to just kind of preface this fight. They really just want to play safe and try to eliminate this keep.
Sylvanas push is helping out a lot here. The Spider is still going in. There comes the Globe. The dive in from iDream, but the bolt out from Arthon is going to really Central does not go off. He does get the silence on the Kerrigan. Kerrigan falls in the back line. Biceps in the middle of everything, trying to get what he can do, but he doesn't have that redemption. If he goes down, he is dead here. Another Globe comes out from Dunk Train, but the Chain Heal does a good job of balancing that out, and it's a 1-for-1 trade. Neither team wanting to commit now.
Wow, I mean, that is absolutely massive, but the Web Weavers haven't stopped pushing. The middle keep is already down, so this wave is very much in their face. The bottom lane has pushed all the way through that, going in, and Tempo is happy to sweep in and eliminate this top keep.
That is 2 keeps down for Maelstrom, none down for Tempestorm. There's a big heal going on to Zuna, not securing that kill, and they're going to be able to back out. Ancestral healing, Jake. Very short cooldown, so normally with Archon, which is a much longer cooldown, it's like, that is a big hindrance, but that will be back up very soon.
Yeah, he actually didn't even get to use it in the last fight. He tried to use it on KO, but KO fell just a little bit too soon, putting on a 10-second cooldown. But like you mentioned, but on normal, it's only a 1-minute cooldown for that heroic ability, one of the shorter ones in the game, and Tempo will be happy to just rotate around and pick up some mercenary camps.
Yep, taking the Knights right now. Maelstrom is back at their base. They're having to deal with catapults pushing 2 lanes, Jake. They have no forts left. Maelstrom basically has to win a fight now. That's what it comes down to. Is they have to win a fight and having greater numbers at the end. They can't trade anymore.
Right, I mean, exactly. But if we look at the back, I mean, we see these keeps are all pretty healthy at this point in time. So even if they try to push in, they could go for the top lane, eliminate it quickly, and go for the core if they do win a convincing fight, like you mentioned. But that is true for both teams at this point in time.
All members are up for both teams. They are now grouped up as 5. Looks like Tempestorm is looking to force a fight here. Caffeine very close to Zuna, but they do see that, so Maelstrom knows that the flank is happening, and there goes the Warrior. Zuno's leaping in way ahead of his team here, trying to maybe bait out that combo from iDream, but he's going to back off. No committal from either team yet.
Yeah, and King Caffeine is looking for the flank now. Tassadar not only grants a lot of vision, he can get out of a lot of bad situations. So in a lot of ways, he is the scout, just trying to find the position onto Tempestorm so his team can engage properly. And if Tassadar gets put in a bad spot, he can just use that dimensional warp to get away. But Tempo will be happy to try to turn in these gems, but Asmodee might throw a globe. No, not going to be in range for it.
There is the trait there from Tassadar. Maelstrom's well aware of the positioning of Tempestorm right now. Both teams dancing around each other, neither looking like they want to fin a fight, but here comes Zuna. He is charging in straight in on the King Caffeine.
Yeah, going for Tassadar early is an interesting thing. They just kind of want to bait out that dimensional warp, force him into using it, because he is such a hard target to eliminate early in a fight. Just really Zuna saying, look, you can't kill me, I know I can't kill you, but if you make a mistake here, we will eliminate your team.
Level 13 talent on Muradin, Jake. The single target damage on Clap does a lot of damage, and we saw Tassadar go to half health very quickly from only a Muradin. You have to calculate for that when you're just dancing and doing the poke, because Zuna can do a lot of burst damage, and that's when Tempestorm is going to want to engage.
They're trying to set up a bit of a flank here. They have Biceps, who has the stun. He is the healer, and iDream is the centerpiece. The moment iDream is in a bad spot, he has so much support on all sides of him. And Tempo needs to be really careful when they push into this.
Soldier reading that the flank was potentially coming here, and Caffeine's actually in a scary position. They could collapse on him very quickly. Now, he does have his phase shift, so he can get out of dangerous situations, but this is a super greedy play from Tempo.
They're so clumped up. If Kerrigan came into this moment with Divine Shield, this could be quite bad, but we see Zuna is going in. The Bolt of the Storm and the Divine Shield were both used by Kerrigan, and we see the damage coming out onto Arthalon, but the heals were there in the front line. KO will end up falling. Arthalon gonna fall as well. Just Uther dead on the side of Maelstrom, and he will revive, but no, he has a level 20 talent, excuse me, he will not revive. Soldier, quite low, Burrow Charge will be enough to get out of this, and Zuna will have to Dwarf Toss out. Quite even trades, all things considered. 2-for-1
trade, but you have to keep in mind that when you kill an Uther, he's not dead, Jake. He is sitting there spam healing. So what would normally be a 5 versus 4, it is still technically a 5 versus 5, and you have to calculate for that. Uther did a great job keeping him up.
Zuna is going to go in, try to get this kill if he had the single target damage, but it's enough to kill Kerrigan. That is a massive play by Zuna at this point in time. Rhaegar is on the way. Ancestral healing not available, but he throws out just the chain heal. That's going to be enough to get him out of here, but the Blizzard coming down onto Dreadnought. Wolf Form will be enough for him to get out, but the top lane is completely pushed by these catapults right at this point in time.
Suddenly now it's 2 versus 2. Kerrigan's down for 40 seconds. There's going to be a 30-second window where Sylvanas and Vala are up and no Kerrigan. Tempestrom's going to be looking to force something then, and guess what, Jake? Boss is up.
Yeah, the boss is up, and they are aware of this. 35 till Kerrigan, like you mentioned. The other 2 assassins on Tempo going to be up in just a moment, and Kerrigan is the centerpiece. They don't have a warrior. She is the only way they can initiate, and Tempo is well aware of this, but they're even, okay, they're being a little bit passive, waiting for their damage dealers to arrive.
Yeah, they are just being as safe as they can, because you can lose this fight very easily, but all 5 members are here now. 15 seconds without Kerrigan. Maelstrom is well aware there's only one place they can be on the map right now, and this is it. Will they be willing to commit without that Kerrigan? They do have great poke with Jaina and Asmodee. There comes the Globe of Annihilation. Does hit Arth on the back immediately at half health. Will they commit here? There's a trait from Caffeine. They are looking for the engage, but they do get the boss. They are not willing to engage without the Kerrigan.
Yeah, Jaina is sitting down here near the turn, and she has to be very careful. If Muradin jumps in there with the burrow charge of an Uberak. She could be eliminated very quickly, but Kerrigan is once again alive. Yes, there is a boss on the side of Tempo, but if they push in with this, oh my god, the tornado is actually hitting. The stun comes out onto iDream. The shield has been used very early. Dreadnought seems to be the priority target. Ancestral Healing used very early, but Kerrigan goes in with the bolt.
There goes iDream in the backline. He's getting blown up very quickly. He's going to jump up, staying up there. KO gets immediately taken down by Dunk Train. The Bolt 4 comes forward. Dreadnought's taking a lot of damage from that E. He's having to run away, but Kerrigan does fall. There goes Jaina as well. Zuna and Soldier on the backline doing as much damage as they can. They're chasing down Dunk Train. Rhaegar coming in from below. He's got the heal for Soldier. He's going to try and keep him up. Zuna's still in on Dunk Train, going in as deep as he can. Caffeine taking a lot of damage at this front line. Dunk Train, or Dreadnought has to be careful. He gets taken out by the globe. Beautiful annihilation there from Dunk Train. Soldier taking a lot of damage. He is getting low. He's trying to burrow up there, but Zuna is staying in, but he's out of mana. Can't do any damage. But the car, Jake, 9%. It goes down. Arthur with the back door.
God.
Holy cow.
The plays with that boss, with Sylvanas in the back, the distraction was real. Just the double warrior alone, with Muradin and Anubarak in the front, just constantly healing up, staying alive in that battle. They drew it out and they made it happen, Zoya.
I can't believe I didn't know sooner. Arthlon was alive but gone the whole time. They still had the push in the mid lane. They collapsed as a team and they were able to take the core. Beautiful distraction there from Zuna and Soldier, delaying the game as long as they could.
And I have to give Zuna a lot of credit. He looks like he's synergizing well with the team. That one kill that he picked up on Kerrigan at the turn in the top coffer was so momentous for the team. It was quite even. He put that in their favor and allowed them to get that boss to begin with. That boss ultimately won them the game.
Really well played there from both teams. Seeing Maelstrom coming into this tournament with a weird draft like that, that is some confidence. Really well played from both teams, but we're going into the game too soon, Jake.
But on that note, guys, we're going to throw to a quick commercial break to get ready for the second game of the day. Make sure you get on social media and tell your friends about this event. This is the America Finals. Use the hashtag WCA 2015 and let us know what you think about these Heroes of the Storm games and who you think will win.
We'll be right back, guys. Stay tuned for more Heroes of the Storm action.